It was a warm Monday evening when Alana Davis stepped into the local karate dojo for the first time. She stood quietly by the door, holding a water bottle in one hand and her gym bag in the other. The scent of sweat and wooden floors filled the air, the sound of feet thudding against mats, the occasional shout of ki from a student practicing a move, and the echo of instructions from the sensei filled the space with energy. Alana had passed by this dojo many times over the years. It was small, tucked between a laundromat and a bookstore, but it had a strong reputation in the neighborhood. People said the training here was serious. For Alana, joining a karate class wasn't just something to do, it was personal. Her father had always wanted her to learn martial arts. He taught her a few basics in their backyard, but she'd never had the chance to train formally. Life had kept her busy, and then he passed away. Since then, the idea of karate had become more than a hobby. It became a promise she had made to herself. She was a quiet woman, not shy, just thoughtful. She observed more than she spoke. At 28, she had learned how to carry herself with calmness, even when others were loud or proud. Her skin glowed with a soft golden brown tone, her dark curls were tied back neatly. Her eyes were sharp, always learning. "Hey, you knew a voice called out?" Alana turned. A tall man in his 30s, wearing a black belt and a wide grin, walked over. He had a confident air about him, maybe too confident. His name was Brad Keller. Everyone in the dojo seemed to know him. He was friendly, but the kind of friendly that sometimes crossed into teasing. He looked her up and down and chuckled. "You ready to get your hands dirty?" he asked. Alana smiled politely. "I'm here to learn," he said, stretching. His arms, "You're in for a workout. I hope you don't bruise easy." She nodded again, not rising to his playful tone. She wasn't here to impress anyone, just to grow. Class began with group stretches and drills. The instructor, a calm, middle-aged man named Sensei Marcus, walked, the room giving guidance. Alana followed carefully, copying each movement with focus. She wasn't flashy, but she was precise. When it came time for light sparring practice, students were paired up. To Alana's surprise, Brad called out, "I'll take the new girl." Sensei Marcus nodded, and the class gave way to the pairing. Alana stepped onto the mat. Brad was smiling, clearly enjoying the attention. He bounced on his feet, rolling his shoulders as if preparing for a championship fight. Alana simply bowed as Sensei Marcus had taught. They began slow. Brad threw light punches, which Alana blocked. She moved smoothly, not with speed, but with calm control. A few students glanced over, surprised at how well she handled herself. Brad, however, seemed more interested in making a show. "Come on," he said. "You can hit harder than that, right?" Alana said nothing. She stayed in her stance. Then, during a demonstration of a grappling move, Brad stepped forward and without warning placed his arm around her neck in a playful headlock. At least, that's what it was supposed to be. But something changed in the air. It wasn't just a demonstration. His grip tightened, and he pulled her close like he was showing off. It wasn't meant to hurt, but it was far more forceful than necessary. A few students looked confused. Was this part of the drill? Was this okay? Brad laughed. "See? Classic move." "Gotcha." Alana didn't laugh. She stayed still. After a few seconds, he let go, and she stepped back quietly. She didn't complain. She didn't make a scene. She simply nodded, took a breath, and returned to her stance. The class continued, but something had shifted. Alana moved with the same focus, but her eyes were different, now calmer, but colder. She was thinking. Not about revenge, not about showing off. She was simply paying attention. Watching how Brad moved, how he liked to perform for others, how he used strength more than skill. She took note of everything. After class, Brad walked by and said, "Hey, no hard feelings, right? Just showing you how we do things around here." Alana looked at him and replied softly, "I came here to learn. Hope we all learn something." Brad laughed again and walked off, thinking he had nothing to worry about. But others in the room had seen what happened. One young woman whispered to another, "That was kind of out of line, right?" The other nodded. A few of the newer students looked at Alana with quiet respect. She hadn't yelled. She hadn't fought back in anger. But there was something about how she handled it, silent but strong, that made people pause. Alana went home that night and took out an old photo of her father. It was one of the few. She had him in a military uniform, standing proudly next to a younger version of her. She remembered how he used to tell her, "It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how you carry yourself when others expect you to fall." She smiled at the memory. She hadn't fallen. She hadn't even flinched. The next morning, she woke up early and practiced her stances in the living room. Her body was sore, but her spirit was steady. She had a goal. She wasn't there to win fights. She was there to master herself. The rest would come in time. At the dojo, Sensei Marcus reviewed the attendance from the night before, made a note. Beside Alana's name, calm, controlled, focused. He didn't say it out loud, but he saw something in her. He had trained many students over the years. Some had talent. Others had fire. But very few had that quiet strength that didn't need to prove anything. That night, Brad was still telling others that Alana froze up when he put her in that move. "She'll toughen up," he said. "It's all part of the game." Games end, lessons stay, and the next class would bring a lesson Brad would never forget. The days passed quietly for Alana, but her mind stayed busy. She kept thinking about what happened at the dojo, not with anger but with reflection. She had joined the karate class to honor her father, to grow stronger in a way that didn't require shouting or proving anything. Yet on her very first day, she had been treated like a joke. But Alana wasn't someone who reacted quickly. She believed in patience. She believed in staying grounded even when others pushed too far. It was something her father taught her. At home, her small apartment was simple and neat. There was a mat rolled out in the corner where she practiced her breathing and forms every morning. Her walls held pictures of her family, especially her father. He had been a quiet man too, someone who believed in inner discipline more than outward power. When Alana was a teenager, her father used to come home from long shifts at work and still spend time teaching her moves he had learned during his military training. He was never flashy. He would say, "If you ever fight, make sure it's not because of ego. Only protect, or only finish what someone else starts." Those words stayed with her. She had learned how to control her breath, how to move with purpose, and most importantly, how to stay calm even when someone stronger stood in front of her. Her father used to say that true strength was quiet, like deep water. Alana never had the chance to join formal classes when she was younger. Life had other plans: school, part-time jobs, helping her father during his illness. After he passed away, she kept delaying it. But one morning, she woke up and realized that time waits for no one. So she put on her shoes and walked into the dojo. Now, as she continued to attend classes, she listened more than she spoke. She noticed everything. The way students lined up, how some rushed while others focused, the way Brad made jokes and treated sparring like a performance. She noticed how Sensei Marcus, though quiet, was always watching too. During one class, Alana partnered with a kind woman named Jenna. They practiced slow moves, and Jenna complimented her. "You're really good for someone who just joined," Jenna said. Alana smiled. "I've been waiting to do this for a long time." Word had started to spread in the dojo. Some students whispered about what happened on Alana's first day. Few had felt uneasy watching Brad choke her during a move. That was supposed to be gentle. No one said anything out loud. But the silence around that moment was thick. It stayed in the air. Brad, meanwhile, didn't seem to notice. He continued joking with others, acting as if he had done nothing wrong. Talked about Alana like she was just another beginner who needed to toughen up. Some laughed along. Others didn't want afternoon. While Alana was practicing alone after class, Sensei Marcus approached her. "You move like someone who's trained before," he said gently. Alana looked up. "A little my dad taught me at home." Sensei nodded. "He must have taught you well." She bowed slightly, appreciating his words. Then he added, "I noticed how you handled yourself last week, not just in movement, but in silence." Didn't respond right away. Then she said softly, "Sometimes silence is stronger than noise." Sensei Marcus gave her a knowing look. He respected that answer. That night, Alana went home and pulled out her old notebook. It was filled with notes and drawings from her childhood, back when she and her dad used to write down different martial arts ideas. She flipped to a page where he had written in block letters, "Don't react with ego. Respond with purpose." She traced the words with her finger. That was what she had done. And that was what she would continue doing by the time the next class rolled around. A special event was announced, a weekend sparring session open to all students, no matter their level. It would be a friendly exchange of skills, with mixed pairs chosen by draw. Students were excited. It was a chance to learn from each other, try new moves, and grow stronger together. Brad was especially excited. He loved sparring in front of an audience. He joked loudly, saying things like, "Let's see who survives me this time. Hope no one cries again." Alana heard him, but didn't respond. She focused on her training, her form, her breath. That evening, one of the junior students, a boy named Eli, came up to her. "Miss Alana, are you going to spar this weekend?" "Yes," she said with a calm smile. "I hope I get to watch. You're really cool." Alana thanked him. She knew that eyes were beginning to turn toward her not because of what she said, but because of how she behaved. There was strength in being still. People were starting to notice. The day of the sparring event arrived. The dojo buzzed with energy. Friends and family of students had come to watch. Folding chairs were set up along the walls, and snacks were laid out on a table near the entrance. Students warmed up, stretched, and chatted nervously. Sensei Marcus stood in the center of the mat and announced the pairs. He called names, and students stepped forward with bows. Then he said, "Next up, Alana Davis and Brad Keller." The room paused, a few gasps, a few raised eyebrows. Even Brad blinked in surprise, but then he smiled wide, clearly thinking this was his chance to entertain. He turned to the crowd. "Well, here we go again," he joked. Alana stepped forward without a word. She bowed respectfully. Brad bowed too, though with a grin still on his face. The rules were simple: light contact, respect the tap, and stop when told. The spar would be timed, and Sensei would watch closely. They took their positions as the timer began. Brad made the first move. He danced on his feet, throwing playful jabs, testing her. Alana didn't flinch. She moved smoothly, blocking without force. Her focus was sharp. She didn't smile, didn't blink too much. She was reading him. Brad, still showing off through a few spinning kicks that missed. He chuckled. "Gotta keep up." Alana stepped lightly to the side, controlling her breath. Then Brad rushed forward with a light grapple. The same kind of move he used last time, but this time, Alana didn't stay still, in one swift motion. She countered, stepping behind him, using his own force against him. She didn't hurt him. She simply guided him down with perfect balance, gently but firmly placing him in a clean position he could not escape. Brad's eyes widened. His hands hit the mat. Tap. Tapped. Alana released instantly and stepped back. The room went silent for a second, then came a wave of quiet murmurs. Not loud cheering, just respectful awe. Brad sat up, stunned. He looked around, confused, like he hadn't expected that. Alana bowed. Sensei Marcus nodded. "Good control, both of you." As Brad stood up slower this time, he glanced at Alana. She met his eyes not with pride, not with anger, but with peace. She had no need to say anything. The match was over. The message had just begun. The quiet victory Alana experienced against Brad in the dojo was not something she spoke about afterward. She didn't brag about it, didn't even discuss it. Instead, she simply continued her daily routine, calm and humble as always. Her life returned to its simple rhythm, filled with early mornings, hard work, and reflective evenings. Still, something had undeniably shifted in the dojo. People looked at her differently now. It's not in fear nor jealousy, but with curiosity and respect. Students began greeting her warmly whenever she arrived. Others quietly observed her movements during warm-ups, wondering how someone who seemed so calm could move with such confidence and clarity. Brad had changed as well, but differently. After that day, he grew quieter. He didn't make jokes as loudly anymore, nor did he tease others during training. He spent less time trying to impress people and more time quietly practicing on his own. His ego had been gently corrected, not through anger or humiliation, but through the calm dignity that Alana showed in their sparring match. One afternoon, Alana noticed Brad sitting alone after practice. He looked troubled, thoughtful in the way she hadn't seen before. It wasn't in her nature to hold grudges or feel satisfaction at someone else's discomfort. So quietly, she approached him. "You did well today," she said softly, standing a polite distance away. Brad looked up, surprised. He seemed to search her face for any sign of sarcasm or hidden meaning, but found none, only sincerity. "You're joking, right?" he finally asked, a slight smile tugging at his lips. "No," Alana said gently. "You really did." Brad sighed deeply. "I've trained here a long time," he admitted, running his hand over his head, "but I've never felt like this. I've always been the one to win, to impress people. Now, I'm not sure what I'm doing." Alana carefully chose her words, wanting to be honest, yet kind. "Maybe it's time you focus less on impressing people and more on improving yourself." He looked at her quietly, thinking over her words. Then he nodded slowly. "You're probably right." They sat silently for a few moments, comfortable in the quiet understanding that had grown between them. It was strange, Alana thought, how a single event could lead to a deeper kind of growth, not only for herself but also for someone like Brad. As Alana stood to leave, Brad surprised her by speaking again. "Alana, listen, sorry for everything, especially that first day. I was out of line, trying to show off. You didn't deserve that." She paused, hearing sincerity in his voice. She turned back, facing him fully, and looked into his eyes with kindness. "It's all right," she said warmly. "Sometimes we have to stumble before we understand how to walk properly." Brad smiled softly, relieved. "Thanks." From that day on, the atmosphere in the dojo became friendlier, warmer, and even more respectful. New friendships quietly blossomed. Students helped each other more, learned from each other's strengths, and encouraged each other's growth. "Alana, I felt glad seeing this gentle transformation. It was never about competition or power for her. It was always about improvement and respect." Sensei Marcus, watching quietly, noticed the changes too. One evening after class, he called Alana to speak with him privately. "You've brought something special here," he told her sincerely. "I've never seen students behave with such kindness and respect toward each other." Alana blushed slightly, bowing her head. "I didn't do anything special," she said humbly. "I only acted the way I was taught." Sensei smiled knowingly. "Your father must have been a wise man," she nodded, her eyes softening with memories. "He was the wisest person I've ever known." Sensei paused thoughtfully. "Alana, how would you feel about helping me during the beginner classes? Your calm presence could encourage new students, especially those who might be nervous or unsure." Alana hesitated, her heart gently touched by his request. She'd never imagined herself in such a role. "Are you sure, Sensei? I've only been here a short while." Sensei Marcus nodded confidently. "It's not about time, Alana. It's about how you carry yourself. Students learn not only from technique, but from attitude and patience. You have both." After a brief moment, she smiled softly. "If you believe I can help, I will do my best." "Good," he replied warmly, placing a supportive hand gently on her shoulder. "Then we'll start next week." In the following days, Alana prepared herself mentally and physically, remembering everything her father had taught her about patience, calmness, and humility. She felt honored by the responsibility and wanted to do it well. When the day of her first beginner class as an assistant arrived, Alana felt a gentle nervousness inside her stomach. She stood at the front of the class, next to Sensei Marcus, observing the newcomers with quiet warmth. Many looked nervous, shyly shifting their feet, uncertain how to stand or where to put their hands. She noticed one girl in particular, about 16 years old, standing near the back of the room, eyes downcast and clearly nervous. Alana remembered her first day, how unsure she had felt walking into this dojo for the first time. Quietly, Alana walked over to her. "Hello," she said kindly, smiling. I'm Alana. What's your name? The girl looked up, surprised. Someone noticed her. My name is Kayla, she said softly. Welcome, Kayla, Alana said warmly. I was just like you on my first day, and everything felt new and strange, but you're going to do fine. Just take your time, okay? Kayla's tense shoulders relaxed slightly. Thank you, she whispered gratefully. During class, Lana gently demonstrated the movements clearly, her voice calm and patient as she explained each step. Students watched her closely, comforted by her quiet confidence and reassurance. Slowly, she guided them through basic stances, stretches, and breathing exercises. She reminded them softly, karate isn't just about strength, it's about peace inside your mind. Breathe calmly, move steadily. By the end of class, the beginners looked more relaxed and encouraged. Kayla, smiling shyly, approached Alana. Thank you for helping me today. Felt much better because of you. Alana smiled warmly back. You did very well. Keep practicing, and soon you'll feel even stronger. Watching Kayla leave happily with her mother, Alana felt warmth fill her heart. 8. She knew this was exactly where she was meant to be, helping others the same way her father had guided her all those years ago. Later that evening, sitting in her quiet apartment, Alana picked up her father's old notebook again. She turned the pages slowly, reflecting on the journey that brought her here. Her father's handwriting seemed clearer, his words wiser than ever. She paused at a line she had nearly forgotten, carefully underlined by her father's steady hand. True power comes when we uplift others, not when we push them down. Alana closed her eyes, holding the notebook close to her heart. I understand now, Dad, she whispered gently. Thank you for teaching me. And in the quiet peace of her small apartment, Alana finally understood fully what karate-on life truly meant. It was never about fighting others. It was always about finding peace within and sharing it with the world. Life at the dojo had gently changed after Alana began helping with the beginners' classes. Each evening, as the sunlight faded into warm shades of gold and pink, students entered the dojo, smiling, eager to learn. The mood was different now, softer and kinder. It was no longer about who was strongest or fastest. It became a place of encouragement and support, a place where every student felt safe and respected. Alana found herself deeply enjoying teaching. It was new for her, something she had never imagined doing. Each class, she carefully guided students, explaining movements patiently, correcting gently when needed, and always encouraging. Many students looked up to her quietly, seeing in her calm face and steady voice someone they could trust. Among the students, Kayla especially began to shine. At first shy and uncertain, she had quickly become confident under Alana's gentle guidance. Kayla began moving with greater certainty, practicing with discipline, and always listening closely. She never missed a class, and each day she stayed. A little later, practicing moves again and again. Determined to improve, one evening, after most of the students had left, Kayla lingered behind. Alana was quietly arranging mats, lost in thought. Kayla approached shyly, waiting politely until Alana noticed her standing there. Kayla, Alana smiled gently. Is everything okay? Kayla hesitated, then softly said, Can I ask you something? Of course, Alana replied warmly. You can always talk to me. Kayla took a deep breath, clearly nervous. Were you always so calm, even when things were hard? I mean, how do you stay so strong and quiet at the same time? Alana paused thoughtfully. Seeing the seriousness in Kayla's eyes, You know, she said gently, I wasn't always calm inside. When I was younger, I felt unsure of myself, afraid to speak or act, worried about making mistakes. But my father taught me something important. Kayla stepped closer, clearly listening. With deep attention, taught me that being calm and patient isn't about never feeling scared. It's about understanding that fear and uncertainty are part of growing. They're normal, but they don't have to control you. You choose how you react. Kayla nodded slowly, her eyes brightening with understanding. Sometimes I feel nervous, especially here because I don't want to mess up. Alana smiled gently, placing a comforting hand on Kayla's shoulder. Kayla, making mistakes is how we grow. Everyone makes mistakes. I do, even Sensei Marcus does. But mistakes help us learn. Don't be afraid of them. Kayla smiled shyly. Thank you, Alana. You always make me feel better. After Kayla left, Alana sat quietly for a while, thinking about their conversation. Teaching wasn't just showing moves. It was sharing wisdom, kindness, and patience. It was guiding young minds and hearts towards self-confidence and strength. Meanwhile, Brad continued attending classes. His demeanor had changed significantly since his conversation with Alana. He was quieter, more thoughtful, and less concerned with impressing people. Instead, he focused more on truly improving himself. He practiced harder, listened better, and treated others with newfound respect. One day, during sparring practice, Sensei Marcus paired Brad and Alana together again. The entire room quieted instantly, students looking curiously, remembering their earlier match. But this time, Brad didn't joke or show off. Instead, he quietly stepped forward, bowed respectfully, and waited patiently. Alana saw something new in his eyes, not the usual arrogance or pride, but humble determination and respect. As they sparred gently, carefully exchanging techniques, their movements flowed together naturally. Students watching noticed something powerful and gentle, at once two people moving with harmony, trust, and genuine respect. When their sparring ended, Brad bowed deeply again. Alana bowed back, smiling softly. The class saw this interaction, and it deeply impressed them. It's no longer rivals. These two martial artists had quietly taught everyone a new lesson in humility and respect. After class, Brad approached Alana quietly. You taught me more than martial arts, he said seriously. You taught me what it really means to respect others and myself. I won't forget that. Alana nodded warmly. You've grown a lot, Brad. Keep moving forward. We all learn from each other. Brad smiled, a genuine and humble smile that surprised even him. Thanks to you, Alana. Weeks went by, and Alana continued teaching and training diligently. Her classes grew popular, and new students often joined because friends had told them about the kind and calm teacher who inspired them. Parents thanked her regularly for helping their children become stronger and more confident. One day, after class ended, Sensei Marcus took Alana aside again. He said thoughtfully, I've trained students for many years, but I've rarely seen someone who can truly inspire others the way you have. Alana blushed slightly. Thank you, Sensei, but I think they inspired me just as much. Marcus smiled warmly. Your father would be incredibly proud of you, Alana. You've given these students something that will last much longer than martial arts skill. You've given them confidence, kindness, and strength of spirit. That night, Alana sat quietly in her apartment, holding a photograph of her father gently. She smiled softly, thinking of his gentle lessons and quiet strength. She imagined him, standing beside her, proud of the woman she had become. As the weeks passed, news spread about the dojo's kind atmosphere. More and more students joined, especially young women and teenagers who had previously felt intimidated. Everyone, it seemed, wanted to learn from the calm and strong teacher who never raised her voice. Never judged harshly, but always gently guided each student towards strength and confidence. One afternoon, Alana received a call from a local school principal, he explained. They had heard wonderful things about her teaching style and asked if she'd be willing to give a special talk to their students about confidence, self-control, and respect. Alana, deeply honored, agreed. On the day of her presentation, the school's auditorium was filled with teenagers sitting quietly. Eager to hear from this woman their teachers praised so highly, Alana spoke softly, clearly, and honestly, sharing simple stories of overcoming fears, staying calm under pressure, and finding inner strength. She talked about kindness, patience, and respect as the strongest tools they would ever have. When she finished, the students applauded warmly. Many came up afterward to ask questions or simply thank her. Teachers shook her hand gratefully, amazed at how someone so young could speak with such wisdom and sincerity. Returning home, Alana felt deeply happy. She had begun karate training simply to honor her father and find personal peace. Yet now, she had touched so many lives, quietly inspiring others to be stronger, kinder, and braver. Late that evening, she took out her father's notebook again, gently reading the words he had carefully written years ago. When you lift up others, you rise with them. She closed the notebook softly, smiling gently. She finally understood her father's words clearly. It was not strength, fighting, or victory that made someone truly strong. It was humility, kindness, and wisdom shared with others. As Alana fell asleep peacefully that night, she knew her father's lessons would continue guiding her. She felt grateful, understanding deeply that true strength never needed to shout. True strength spoke softly, gently, and powerfully from the heart. Months passed gently, one peaceful day flowing into another. Alana continued teaching classes at the dojo, growing even closer with her students. The karate school had become a second home, filled with friendship and trust. Alana found great happiness helping others grow strong, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally too. Kayla continued to progress beautifully. Her confidence improved every day. She began helping Alana by showing new students the basic movements she had mastered. Alana watched Kayla quietly from a distance sometimes, proud to see her moving with so much grace and purpose. Kayla was blossoming into a confident young woman, just as Alana had hoped. One afternoon after class, Kayla waited patiently to speak to Alana. She seemed unusually nervous, shifting from foot to foot. "Is everything all right, Kayla?" Alana asked gently. Noticing her hesitation, Kayla nodded slowly, taking a deep breath. "There's something I want to share with you," she began softly. "You've taught me more than karate. You've taught me courage and patience. Because of you, I believe in myself now. I never thought I would." Alana felt deeply touched. Her heart warmed hearing such sincere words. "Kayla, you were always stronger than you realized. You only needed someone to remind you. It was always inside you." Kayla smiled warmly. "Thank you, Alana. You changed my life." Those words stayed with Alana. Later that evening, alone in her apartment, she sat quietly by the window, thinking deeply. She remembered clearly her first day at the dojo, the uncertainty she felt, the embarrassment she quietly endured, and the quiet strength she found within herself. Life was funny, she thought gently. Sometimes the hardest moments led directly to the brightest outcomes. The next weekend, a community karate competition was announced. It would be held at their dojo, and all local schools were invited. Sensei Marcus asked Alana if she'd help organize and judge the event. Alana gladly accepted. The competition, she knew, would bring together families, students, and teachers from around the area, encouraging positivity, support, and friendship. Excitement filled the dojo leading up to the event. Students trained diligently, motivated by friendship and teamwork. Brad completely changed since their early sparring, offered sincere support and encouragement to everyone. His transformation inspired many students. Alana felt proud of his new humility and kindness. The competition day finally arrived, sunny and bright. Families gathered cheerfully, greeting each other warmly. The dojo had been beautifully prepared, decorated with colorful banners, chairs neatly lined up, and mats freshly cleaned. Students stood proudly in their uniforms, ready to participate and do their best. As the event started, Alana welcomed everyone with a gentle speech, encouraging kindness, respect, and joy in learning. Her soft words resonated deeply, calming nervous students and touching parents' hearts. Everyone applauded warmly when she finished speaking, feeling inspired. The competition itself was joyful. Students performed beautifully, demonstrating skills they'd carefully practiced. Families cheered enthusiastically, proud of each participant. Alana watched carefully as a judge, ensuring fairness and respect throughout each match. Kayla performed beautifully in her group. She moved with remarkable confidence, demonstrating clearly everything Alana had taught her. After finishing, she glanced shyly toward Alana, who smiled warmly in proud approval. Kayla's face lit up instantly, deeply encouraged by Alana's quiet affirmation. Even Brad performed differently, calmly demonstrating moves he'd been carefully practicing. Alana noticed the changes clearly. He moved with humility, completely focused. His growth inspired everyone watching, showing clearly how much people could change for the better. After every student performed, Sensei Marcus asked Alana to announce the awards. Standing before families and students, Alana spoke warmly again, emphasizing courage, kindness, and improvement more than winning or losing. She proudly awarded Kayla a medal for her remarkable improvement and Brad for his dedication to humility and growth. The event ended happily. Families and students gathered afterwards, sharing food, laughter, and stories. Lana stood quietly at the edge, feeling deep satisfaction. She knew her father would have loved this moment, filled with friendship, respect, and quiet strength. After everyone left, Alana quietly helped Sensei Marcus tidy the dojo. He paused thoughtfully, looking at her warmly. "Today was beautiful, Alana. You've brought real change here, teaching everyone the true meaning of strength and humility." "Thank you," Alana smiled softly. "I only did what my father taught me, Sensei. Real strength is gentle, kind, and patient." "You honored him beautifully," Sensei replied quietly, clearly touched. Later that evening, Lana walked quietly alone to the small cemetery nearby, where her father rested peacefully. Beneath tall trees, evening sunlight touched the grass warmly, creating a soft, golden glow around his resting place. Alana knelt quietly, touching the cool stone gently, speaking softly, as if her father could still hear clearly. "I think you would have been proud today." "Dad," she said gently, her voice trembling softly with emotion. "I finally understand everything you taught me. Strength isn't winning fights. Strength is patience, respect, and kindness. It's helping others believe in themselves." She paused quietly, closing her eyes and breathing softly, peaceful in the silence. "I wish you could see how much everyone has grown. Kayla is brave now, Brad is humble, and the dojo is filled with kindness and friendship. I learned all this from you, Dad." A gentle breeze moved softly around her, and Alana felt deeply comforted, as if her father was there, listening carefully. She stood gently, touching his stone one final time. "Thank you for teaching me everything I needed, Dad. Your lessons will always guide me." Walking back home, Alana felt peaceful and grateful. Her heart was filled with quiet joy, understanding clearly the true meaning of strength and respect. She knew this lesson would guide her gently for the rest of her life. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. The dojo continued growing, welcoming more students inspired by its atmosphere of kindness and strength. Alana continued teaching, guiding each student with gentle patience and wisdom. Kayla became a confident assistant instructor, helping newcomers just as Alana once helped her. Brad continued, improving too, quietly teaching humility and respect through his actions every day. Alana's quiet example reached even further. She visited local schools regularly, giving gentle talks about patience, strength, and courage. Teachers often thanked her deeply afterward, got amazed by how deeply students connected with her peaceful wisdom. One quiet evening, sitting alone at home, Alana opened her father's notebook again. She turned slowly through the pages, pausing carefully. At one line, written softly by her father's own hand years ago, "Strength is never about loudness. It is quiet, humble, and kind. Use your strength gently, wisely, and always with respect." She closed her eyes softly, smiling. She had lived his words fully. She understood deeply now what he had meant. True strength was exactly as he described it: quiet, patient, and deeply kind. And by teaching this strength to others, she honored her father in the most beautiful way. Closing the notebook gently, Alana felt peace inside her heart, clear and deep. Her father's wisdom had guided her perfectly. She knew his quiet lessons would stay within her forever, softly guiding every step of her life, and quietly, gratefully. Alana knew exactly how she would continue living, teaching kindness, patience, and quiet strength to every person she gently guided, honoring her father's gentle wisdom every day of her life.